This is Neil Schneider for MTVS TV at CES 2017. I think it's like my 9th time at this show, which is unbelievable. To my immediate right is Jim Preston. He is the Director of Strategy and Business Development for Fauve. Welcome to the program, Jim.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. We've been around for a while, but not as many CESs as you, though, Neil.
Be around for plenty more, I'm sure.
I hope so.
So I've seen, of course, we've seen Fauve before, but it's always good to see the enhancements and the improvements.
Right.
What have you got on display here?
Well, we're excited about it. CES 2017 is number one. We're announcing we're shipping this month, right? So that's the big end of the adventure. That's the big celebration for Fauve. But we've also got a couple other really interesting announcements, one of which is we're showing demos for the first time from a couple of groups. One is Cognitive VR, based in Vancouver, and they're doing early analytics, VR gaze-based eye tracking, so the heat maps and the vision maps around what users are actually looking at. And they're doing some really interesting stuff right now, just based in Unity, working closely with those guys. And it's stuff that we're seeing a lot of requests for on the enterprise side. People that work with customers or that work with even with clients or partners, they really want to know exactly what everyone is looking at.
Why is this important?
Well, it's important, especially for remote collaboration, where we want to know what people are looking at and in which order they're looking at. So Cognitive VR, one of our partners, has not only the VR application, but they also have a web-based application. So you can go out into their web expression and see it in 2D of what are people looking at. Plus they have an aggregate, so you can see what do most people notice, right? So if you have a virtual a virtual drugstore or something like that, people are just looking at the speaker too long and you really want them looking at the products, that sort of thing.
So give me an example of how this would be, like a practical example of this. Like, so what if we understand what people are looking at? Why is this important? How does this help them?
Sure. I'll give you an example, for example, out of the manufacturing industry. So if you want to do a car interior, which in the past was actually a really laborious process of putting people inside a car and actually putting different clay sort of structures in front of them, now you can put them in a real car, so they get the feeling of an actual steering wheel in their hands, and you can cycle through a lot of interiors. And now you can look at exactly what people gaze at, because it turns out people aren't very good at self-reporting. When you ask them what you found the most interesting or what's the most memorable, but now we know exactly what did you linger on, what did you notice first, what did your eyes come back to, right? So it provides a much more honest and much more precise representation of what people really notice.
I take it Fauve has a competitive advantage here because of the eye tracking, yes?
Exactly. We're the first ones to bring eye tracking to a VR headset, right? So we're talking to a lot of partners that want to do analytics and that want to do sort of consumer insights, and a lot of folks out there that just want to take what has been sort of a rough process in the past, a very sort of crude survey-based process, and get it more data-driven. And I think that's where something like the Fauve will really help.
Okay, excellent. So that's one area. What's another territory you're looking at?
So something we're very excited to announce here at CES 2017 is that we're showing the first demo for a product called Lumen. So this is put out by Framestore in LA. They're an extremely talented, Oscar-winning shop down in LA who've done a lot of really cool stuff in VR. I'm sure most VR enthusiasts have heard about them. And they've had this product out on the Steam store for quite some time. And it's basically a gaze-based procedural sort of forest creation experience, right? And in the past it was just gaze-based because the Vive doesn't have, it only has head tracking, doesn't have eye tracking. But they were able to get it working on the Fauve, and this allows you to have this sort of relaxation experience where the forest grows based upon your gaze, right? And the colors can change and the flowers can bloom. And so we're noticing now is in the medical field, they're very much interested in eye tracking as it becomes more affordable, as the price is coming down thanks to eye tracking VR, as it's becoming much more accessible, where you just, as long as you're a Unity developer or you know how to use Unreal, you can make some of your own scenes and get to work eye tracking. That the early stages we're seeing things like relaxation, health, and wellness, things that Walter Greenleaf is doing at Stanford Lab, things that the University of California at San Francisco are doing around relaxation. These are the areas that there's not a lot of regulation because it's really around sort of low-hanging fruit of meditation and wellness and stuff. And so we're excited to show that with Lumen, with our partners at Framestore and Time Life VR. And so we think that is that sort of early medical applications is another really exciting area for eye tracking.
So who would the ultimate customer be in a scenario like that? Would that be for end users or for offices? What do you envision?
Well, ultimately it could be things like out of home sort of health and wellness providers like drugstores, right? So eye tracking, it turns out there are a lot of like maladies and pathologies that show up first in the eyes that you can diagnose, right? It's why your doctor always has you look at a light and sort of moves your eyes around. So things like a CVS or Walmart, right, potentially could have headsets in them where, you know, the elderly, for example, would come in and have a very simple eye tracking or eye test, you know, designed by a pharmacist or something like that. And so there are markets out of there where the price and affordability and accessibility really sort of make this much wider. That's sort of down the line right now. We don't have anything to announce at that scale. But at these early stages, it's medical researchers, and those are the communities, academics and medical research folks who are the most excited about getting a FOVE.
All right, good stuff. Any other announcements we should know about?
We're going to have a couple more announcements later this month. The timing wasn't right for CES, but FOVE has got quite a few things coming up for 2017. We're really excited.
Okay, well, congratulations on your continued success. And the developer kit is available now, yes? It could be ordered now?
Yes, it can be ordered right now at www.getfove.com, and we're shipping them now in January. And just uploaded a new SDK on Friday, so it's crazy times for FOVE. It's going great.
Excellent. Well, have a great CES.
Thanks, Neil.